Welcome once again to one of our In Conversation series videos. Today I am excited to be joined by Tamas and Martin from Positive Adamsky, an agency in Budapest in Hungary. Hello guys, how are you this morning?
Hello. Great,
Hi,
thank
Paul.
you.
Always a pleasure to see you.
Great, great. Well, good to thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I know it's, as we were saying before we started, it's the end of the year, so everything's a bit chaotic and frantic for all of us, but I appreciate your time. Positive Adamsky became a partner of Mission Hubs fairly recently. You're an award-winning agency, as I say, based in Budapest. Can you tell us a little bit about the agency, please? You know, because it's got an interesting history, the sort of services you offer, the structure that you have, and the clients. Just give us a flavour for what you're all about, please.
Sure. So Positive Adamsky was founded as a small family micro company, basically back in 2001. And it grew to the size of 125 employees in total, with an annual turnover of 8.5 million euros for last year. And we basically became the top 4 agency in Hungary in terms of turnover, profit after tax, and number of employees. Of course, it was a quite long road which led to this. We had a few acquisitions along the way, such as a PR agency, a creative agency, and a healthcare agency. And this is how our agency group was basically established. We have 4 main pillars in the agency. One of them is the integrated one, of course, classical ATL, BTL stuff. We have in-house copywriters, strategists, creative people, account people, etc. This amounts to around 2/3 of our total turnover. The second biggest pillar is digital and social, where we offer web development, web design, web shop building, PPC, digital media buy, and very importantly, social media account management. Our third pillar is the PR agency, which used to be called Positive PR. So that's where the Positive name comes from.
Okay.
And our fourth and newest, youngest pillar is the specialized healthcare agency called Positive Health and Care, which actually had a different name back then. But it's an up-and-coming, very successful column or pillar of our business. And the private healthcare sector is booming in Hungary as well as in the region. So we saw huge potentials in there, and that's why we took the opportunity.
Cool. And I understand. Well, I've seen the pictures because I saw the presentation. But you've got quite a fascinating office, and it's in a great location, as I understand.
Oh yeah. So it started maybe 5 or 6 years ago when we had to move actually to a bigger office. And this office is in the ancient part of the city, next to the Hero Square, which is a beautiful large square just next door. I'm sitting right now in my office, so it's 40 meters from here. It used to be actually the embassy building of Sudan and for Vietnam as well. Previously, it's more than 100 years old now, and we kept everything as much as we can, but we shaped it a little bit. To the world of agency atmosphere. So it's inspirational and blah, blah, blah. So actually the first big achievement was that we won the Office of the Year award in the design category in 2019. But yeah, it's and we just had a refurbishment this year because after 5 years, it was time to make some modernization, optimizing the spaces, co-working zones, etc., etc. So now it's almost 100 people can sit down simultaneously. which is still, a hybrid model with all the home offices, but we really like practically our second home. And of course, we have another for the healthcare agency. We have another headquarter in another country, no, in another city. Sorry. Future plans. It's called Saga, but yeah, it's really nice, yeah, it's literally our second home.
I think that's really important. I think agency spaces really sort of helps define the culture of what an agency is as it develops. It's I've seen the pictures of yours. I'm sort of angling to come out and have a look at it in person, but it sounds great. I wanted to touch there if I could, because obviously our business is very much about people on your backgrounds, because you operate, you have very different roles in the agency. So maybe you could explain just a little bit about what you do. Tamas, maybe if you could kick us off.
Sure. I am responsible for the international business development of the agency group. The main reason behind my role was that the managing partners have come to a conclusion that the agency has pretty much reached its potential in Hungary. And we do have the in-house language skills. We do have the knowledge, etc., plus the solutions, which are truly international. So many of our services are international, and there was a specific need to build out the international business. That's what I was basically hired to do.
Cool. And Martin, your background is a little different, as I understand.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. So I used to work for WPP for many years in global advertising business, but I think 10 years ago, actually, I sat down with the brothers who are the co-owners actually of the company, and we made a very good construction how to further develop the agency. So I brought all my experiences and networks and everything with myself, and the main vision was actually to somehow transform the entire agency and make it an internationally relevant and competitive agency. So that's why we're sitting here. So it's still, of course, an owner-managed agency group. So all the managing partners and the owners are actively in the business, and my actual role beyond the international business is that I'm the chief creative officer for the group. So everything that's strategy, creative, or aspirational production, let's say, by the end of the day, I am the gatekeeper of that type of activities.
Okay. And I mean, just to sort of follow on a little bit from that, I mean, what is the sort of the environment like in Hungary at the moment from a creative standpoint? I mean, we see a lot about the sort of film production. I know that happens there, but creatively, what is it like at the moment?
Yeah, my dear colleague Tamas says also always that Hungary became practically, or Budapest actually became the second Hollywood. But Tamas, go ahead. It's your role, and I will add a couple of things.
Yes, well, first, coming a bit back to pure creative aspect of it, there are over 4,500 marketing agencies in Hungary at the moment, and around 4,500 sole entrepreneurs who are active in marketing, but only around 50 of the agencies have a turnover of over 2.5 million euros. So that kind of shows the size. But coming back to film production, we are proud to say that Budapest is truly the second Hollywood now. It started back in 2004 when the Hungarian Film Act was introduced, which offers a tax rebate basically for international productions working in Hungary, shooting in Hungary. But there was also another milestone for this, that the Hungarian-born Hollywood producer Andrew Vajna, Andy Vajna, was asked to come back from Hollywood and move back to Hungary. and basically re-establish the entire film industry. And then many studios were built, talents were taught, Hollywood quality equipment was purchased everywhere. And of course, we are highly competitive in pricing, which makes us a truly international spot for film and also for advertising production as well. This is actually one of our key strengths to offer to international partners, for example.
Yeah, of course, the advertising business is quite a close neighboring territory to film production, photo production, this kind of stuff. So if it comes to infrastructure, if it comes to pragmatic execution, no big distances, quite a modern infrastructure, reasonable prices, and everything that was mentioned by Tamas, but also the knowledge. So it's quite a common thing or not an unusual thing that we have bigger or smaller production crews running around in the next street or whatever. So it's quite a usual thing in Budapest that streets are closed and large crews moving with all the cameras and lightings and everything. So this also indicates that we do have the knowledge how to handle this kind of business on an international level that is still worth, for Hollywood or for the advertising industry or for whoever to bring the production here, because it's something in the good sense of the word. It can be good, isolated and handled, and it's still transparent and good conditions. That's the main reason. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's easy to look at these things potentially just from a cost point of view, but of course you have, as you say, the knowledge and the infrastructure, the ecosystem that surrounds that part of the industry that makes it all possible and actually makes it a lot more seamless. I mean, for our viewers who are geographically savvy will know where Hungary is, because you're sort of slap in the center of the European continent, as it were, which actually gives you a really great geographic advantage in terms of being able to go into other countries. But from where you sit at the moment, what regionality does your business have? How can you help mission partners in other parts of Europe?
Well, we don't limit ourselves, to be honest. Currently, we are active in the DACH region, so that's Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, Central Eastern Europe, everywhere. Hopefully, a few projects starting in the UK now. But we have analyzed several service types which can be done from Budapest. So we are basically actively looking for partners, and that's why we joined Mission as well, to collaborate on an international level, not to actually perform services for Hungary, but from Hungary. So that was the main idea behind it. There are service types which, of course, cannot be handled from Budapest, like PR internationally or event management internationally, because you have to be present, of course, in these markets to be able to perform fully. But there are a lot of activities which we can cover internationally as well.
Cool. You touched on events just then, and again, I know from our previous conversation that events is a significant part of what you guys do. But I also know that you have, and I still have to wrap my head around this one a little bit, but you do an amazing event every year. And I know when we spoke just sort of the end of middle of this year, you were going, please, can we not talk this week because I'm so busy? This is just this crazy event going on. Can you tell us a little bit about the marketing conference that you do? Because it's fascinating.
Sure. We didn't mention it during this conversation, but the founder of our agency, Ferenc Hinora, he is also the president of the Hungarian Marketing Association. He's serving his third term now, and he's been the president for over 10 years now, which is an elected position. So he didn't elect himself, but actually people chose him to be the president. And he's doing a pretty remarkable job there. And together with the Hungarian Marketing Association, we host the biggest professional event in Hungary called Marketing Summit, which is every year in September. And this year we had to move to a bigger venue than what we had before, which was this year. It was the Palace of Arts, which is truly a landmark, one-of-a-kind building next to the River Danube, overlooking the Buda Hills. And we had over 2,200 participants this year. It was a truly international event. Half of it was in English from people all over the world, and the other half was in Hungarian. We had 4 thematic stages. It's a jam-packed day with a very interesting award ceremony in the end. But Marton is heavily involved in the awards, so I'll pass it over to him.
Oh yes, that's a heavy part. It's it has a couple of years of history that we have practically, let's say, condensed all the awards together, and we are making each year a big awards ceremony. This is a 2.5 hours, so it's a really thick thing, handing over awards like the Marketer of the Year, the top 50 decision makers in marketing, top 50 decision makers in PR, etc., etc. The Green Pledge Award, like the green and sustainability conscious clients and agencies as well, etc. There is also a new award, which was actually founded by one of my colleagues and myself. It's called the Signature 40, which is, I think, quite unique and has a very nice success story by now, because we are here not acknowledging the top decision makers, because they have their own list anyway, but one step behind. So it's like brand managers, trade marketing managers, etc. So all the people behind the curtains, performing a lot and making decision makers in in a good condition to make good decisions. So they are practically the decision makers of the future.
Yeah.
But they do not have really, feedback from markets and from external professionals. And this year we had like announcement of more than 1,000 people. So it's a very nice session. And during this ceremony, I'm not saying it's kind of an Oscar gala, but the atmosphere is kind of that thing. It's really a big celebration of the profession. So it's a very important thing that is also hosted actually and organized by Positive Adamsky with the Marketing Association in alliance.
I think what's nice, of course, so everyone's clear, it's not just about agencies, it's about the marketing profession as a whole.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. Yeah. It's focusing on actually mostly on the client side, because the Association of Hungarian Advertising Agencies, it's another organization. They're doing also a very good job, and with all the advertising competitions and awards and blah blah blah, which we know, like EFI, etc., etc. But this is, and that's why it's practically having a very nice history, that for 10 years it's a very intensive feedback for the client side, how things are executed on the client side, how they are using agencies, what kind of results they have, what kind of progresses they can show, etc., etc. So it's a previously it was lacking actually.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really smart idea, and as you say, it gives you a tremendous oversight of the entire market, and allows that feedback circle. So great one. And can anybody attend this? Is it an invitation, or is it sort of open to anyone?
It's basically anyone can purchase a ticket. There are, of course, the different packages. And what we didn't mention yet is that the Marketing Association joined the European Marketing Confederation last year. Okay. And we had the entire board there representing the European Marketing Confederation, and they also had some keynote speeches on stage. So it truly made it international and well worth the money.
Oh, wonderful. Well, there you go. sort of putting my hat on as we sort of draw towards the end of 2024. A lot is happening in the world at the moment. It's a crazy place, and for agencies, typically, of course, this time of year is a busy one as we roll up towards the end of the year. Looking forward, could I ask you both, what are your sort of plans, aspirations for 2025? What would you like to see happening in the industry? Maybe locally, maybe internationally, big or small? I'm just curious to hear what you think.
Yes. How much time do you have, Paul?
Don't worry, Martin. I can always edit you out. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. It's not an easy year. It's 24. It's locally in the advertising industry, we feel that all the crises with the war, with energy prices and pandemic, even blah blah blah. Somehow these phenomena, these negative vibes, are reaching now our industry, which was actually, people thought last year, okay, that's going to be the hard year. It wasn't that hard. Now we are. I don't know what I'm going to say next year, but today it's a hard year. I'm not saying it's a bad year, but it's not easy. And what we see also in our international business, in the energy sector, for example, blah blah blah, it's also not easy for them. So there are big differences between industries. For example, if it comes to food and beverage category, it's not that bad. Retail, we have 20 plus shopping malls in Hungary and in Europe. It's also not an easy year, but it's not bad. But for example, everything that's energy, like air conditioning sector, heat pumps, blah blah blah, it's very hard. There are really shocking trends out in the market, which affect, of course, our business as well. So what I'm trying to reach for next year is to stay stable. Stability is I think it's a realistic, and for me it's it's a satisfying result if we can state that we are still stable. For the international business, definitely I would like to make big progresses in terms of what we started last year with Tamas and with the crew, meaning the Positive Adamsky crew. I want to expand that, way further. So I mean, when I had my session with my managing partners downstairs a couple of months ago, I said, okay, guys, my vision for next year is that Positive Adamsky has a truly an international DNA in its corporate culture next year. So actively, lots of international projects, lots of international professional knowledge shares, progresses, development in this direction. These are the future plans. I think these are the realistic future plans, let's say.
Well, I hope we can help you with the international. And of course, anyone who's watching, please get in contact there with Martin, who'd love to have a chat with you. Tamas, of course, you are the sort of new business pushing forward the Positive Adamsky message. What would you say?
Well, the goals are pretty much the same because we established them together. But yeah, the idea is to have around 20 to 30% of our total turnover from international business. So this is what I'm basically working for, and this is what I'm trying to achieve, to build out as many international strategic collaborations with other agencies or with clients directly as possible. And Mission is a great tool for this, and hopefully a great help.
Well, we're delighted and excited to have you. I love your business. I think you've got a great agency there. I love the creativity, and I love the positivity that you guys have shown us all on the calls and when we've met in person. So I'm also conscious of the time, and we're out of it, unfortunately. But if anybody watching this wants to get in contact with Positive, learn a little bit more about the agency, we'll put your details on the end slide. Okay to contact you directly?
Absolutely. I would be the first point of contact. Feel free to.
Perfect. Well, gentlemen, it has been a pleasure as ever. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you well. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.